Hi guys, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at a question on maximum and minimum values. And this question that I'm looking at today is from the February-March 2010 examination paper. Let's read the question. It says, in question 12, a wire 4 meters long is cut into two pieces. One is bent into the shape of a square and the other into the shape of a circle. So the length of this wire is 4 meters long and it's cut into two pieces. If the length of the wire used to make the circle is x meters, write in terms of x, the length of the sides of the square in meters. Okay, so let us work that out. So firstly, they're telling us that the wire is 4 meters long and it's cut into two pieces. One is bent into the shape of a square and the other into the shape of a circle. If the length of wire used to make the circle is x meters, so circle is, so they're using that, so that means the perimeter of the circle is x meters. And what's left over now is for the square is going to be 4 minus x. So the perimeter therefore of what's left over to make the square, so the perimeter will be 4 minus x. Therefore, if the perimeter is 4 minus x, side of the square will be 4 minus x over 4. So one side of the square, because remember all sides in a square are equal, will be 4 minus x over 4. Okay, so that will be 12.1. 12.2. In 12.2, we say show that the sum of the areas of the circle and the square is given by f of x equals to 1 over 16 plus 1 over 4 pi times x squared minus x over 2 plus 1 square meters. That sounds like a mouthful. Basically what they want us to do is to find the area of each one of these figures. Area of the circle and area of the square. Let's see if we can do that. So let's look at the circle first. What is the area of a circle? So the area of a circle formula is pi times radius squared. What do we have here already? We got the perimeter of the circle in terms of x. So therefore, formula for perimeter is 2 pi r. So 2 pi r is equal to x. Therefore, the radius is going to equal to x over 2 pi. So what we can do now is we can substitute r for the radius in terms of x. So it will be pi times the radius is x over 2 pi all squared. That's equals to pi times x squared over 2 squared is 4 pi squared. And if we simplify that, it will equals to pi and pi cancels there, so we'll be left with x squared all over 4 pi. So therefore the area of the circle is x squared over 4 pi. Now let's find the area of the square. So the area of a square is equal to side squared. So the side is 4 minus x over 4. 4 minus x over 4 all squared. So that's now going to equal to 4 squared. So let us simplify or open these brackets out. It will be 16. 4 minus x, let's double the product there. So that's going to be 4 minus x is minus 4x times 2 is minus 8x. And minus x all squared is plus x squared all over 16, which will equals to 16 over 16 is 1 minus 8x over 16 is going to give us, that will be minus x over 2, and we left with positive x squared over 16, x squared over 16. So let's just double check. 16 over 16 is 1. Remember, when we got a monomial denominator, we can take each term in our numerator and we can divide it by our denominator. So minus 8x over 16, 8 into 8 one times, 8 into 16 two times, so we're left with minus x over 2 and positive x over 16. So therefore, the area of the square is equal to 1 minus x over 2 plus x squared over 16. So the total area, they want the sum of the areas, will be, therefore, a of x, or f of x. We said show that it's f of x, a of x. Okay, so that's our function. So let's write it as f of x. So we'll say f of x equals to x squared over 4 pi plus 1 minus x over 2 plus x squared over 16. Okay, simplifying that. Okay, so we can remove a common factor of x squared, which equals 2. So x squared into 1 over 4 pi plus 1 over 16 plus 1 minus x over 2. So that's f of x. Let's go double check. So that will be x squared into 1 over 16 plus 1 over 4 pi, 1 over 16 plus 1 over 4 pi plus 1 and minus x over 2. All right, so now let's go look at the next question. So the next question is, how should the wire be cut so that, let's go look at that again. How should the wire be cut so that the sum of the areas of the circle and the square is a minimum? So once again, when they mention the word minimum, what happens at your minimum values? At your minimum value, the derivative of your function is equal to 0. Therefore, we now need to find the derivative of this function f prime x and equate it to 0 and solve for x. So the derivative of the function is going to be, so let's look at the derivative of the function and equate it to 0. So when we're working out the derivative of the function, remember, we're going to be using the rule. So when you're working the derivative of the function, you must make sure that all terms are separate. Make sure that there's no x terms in the denominator, no roots. Okay, so let's see, what do we have here? So f prime x. So if we had to write out f of x as kx to the n, it will be as follows: 1 over 4 pi times x squared plus 1 minus x over 2 is equal to minus half x, and this will be 1 over 16x squared. So that will be plus 1 over 16x squared. So therefore, the derivative of the function will be 2 times 1 over 4 pi will be 2 over 4 pi. You just multiply, and that will be x. You subtract 1 from it. Remember, the derivative of a constant is 0. The derivative of minus half x will be minus half, and the derivative of 1 over 16x squared will be positive 2 over 16x equals to 0. All right, so it's important for you to make sure that every term is in the form kx to the n before you can find the derivative. All right, if you need to revise finding the derivative using the rule, go and watch the video that I made on finding derivatives using the rule. Now, let's look at this. So we now need to solve for x. So solving for x now, we can take out a common factor here. So it will be x into 2 over 4 pi plus 2 over 16. So I just removed x as a common factor. And I'm going to take this negative half to the other side. It becomes positive half. Therefore, x equals to half divided by 2 over 4 pi plus 2 over 16. Now let's put that in our calculator and let's see what we get. So looking at that now, let's clear that. So we got half, it's 1 over 2. All right, and that will be 2 over 4 pi, 2 over 4 pi plus 2 over 16, 2 over 16, and there you go, equals to 1.759. Let's round up 2 decimal places, 1.76. Therefore, x equals to 1.76, and our units is in meters, 1.76 meters. Things to remember when you are finding maximum and minimum values in calculus is to make sure that you write your expression in terms of one variable only and find the derivative of your function and equate it to 0 and solve for the variable that you're working in. Because remember that at your maximum and minimum value, the derivative of your function is equal to 0. So f prime x equals to 0 at the minimum and the maximum value. Learners, if you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe to JL Maths and catch all the videos on jlmaths.com. And I'll catch you in the next video.